Hi, I'm Ron Lewis from Uper 75 Golf Channel on YouTube. Um, it may look like this video is going to be about golf, but truly it's not going to be. That looks like golf, right? That looks like I'm going to do a video on golf, but this video is about um, a really important part of my life, and I I am 76 years old. My birthday's in December. I just turned 76 in December, and truly, uh, it's a wonder I've lived as long as I've lived. I I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Paradise, Michigan, which is in the Upper Peninsula. It's on Whitefish Bay of Lake Superior, and my parents owned businesses on it. They owned a bar and a restaurant, and then they sold that, and they owned a 27-unit motel and cabins right on Lake Superior with a big chunk of land. And my dad did some logging, and he made enough money to build a motel and cabins. But anyway, this is actually I'm planning on calling this episode 1 of my new series on health, and I want to talk about rheumatic fever and a little bit eczema and eczema treatment in the early 50s and 60s. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I contracted rheumatic fever, and my mother was taking me to a doctor, Dr. McBride. I'm struggling to remember his first name, Lyman or something. I'll find out. I'll find out somehow. He's long gone, and his sons are. I know one son is. He's had 2 sons, and one son died quite a few years ago. I don't know about the other one. But anyway, he was my doctor, and I grew up with both them. I guess you'd call them diseases. So I don't know which one I contracted first. Was it rheumatic fever or eczema? I don't know which one. They're both in there close in the 1955, 1956. I contracted both of them, and from the rheumatic fever, they said I developed a heart murmur, but I was pretty sickly as a child. I wasn't allowed to play sports in school or anything like that. But anyway, I grew up all these years. 70 years ago, I grew up with these two diseases, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what the proper word is for them. And I never figured out which one was worse, because I did get a heart murmur from the rheumatic fever, and I continued to be doctored for him when I was in early, like 10, 12 years old, but then eventually that stopped. I wasn't being doctored for it anymore. But the eczema was a different story. If anybody knows think they know what eczema is a very terrible rash that attacks the skin. And I didn't have it all over my body, but I had it over most parts. My legs and my back. My back was terrible, and my legs were probably the worst. And I lived it. And the first thing I want to tell you about eczema is when I developed it in 1955, there were no salves for eczema. Well, actually now, let me correct something here. I guess a lot of people now call it eczema. They call it eczema. We used to call it eczema back in 1955 or 56 or 1960 or whatever. We called it eczema, and there was no help for it. Matter of fact, I'm not sure the year, when I was 10 years old, my parents decided they could not find any help or any salve for me for the eczema, and they found the help for the rheumatic fever doctor, and so they decided to take me from Paradise, Michigan to Rochester, Minnesota, to the Mayo Clinic. Back that time there wasn't small Mayo clinics all over the country. It was just Rochester, Minnesota was it. And so they made an appointment to take me. I'm sure it cost them thousands of dollars to take me to Rochester, Minnesota to get checked out for my eczema, because my legs were so bad that they were afraid that I was going to lose my legs. They were afraid they were going to cut my legs off. My legs were so bad, and it was just terrible. And anyway, they made an appointment, and so I got excused from school, and they took me to Rochester, Minnesota. I think we were out there like a whole week, and I was getting tests and stuff, and while I was there, the doctors convinced my parents I need to be checked for heart disease, and they asked for my permission to take me in an operating room and strap me down on my back, and without any anesthetic, they put this big needle into my chest, no anesthetic, and it felt like my chest was crushing in when they did this to me. I'll never forget it. I mean, I still remember it when I was 10 years old, and it hurt. Put it that way, it really hurt. But they asked my permission to do this, and I gave it to them. So anyway, when the tests come back on that, they decided that I did not have any heart disease. I had a heart murmur that developed when I was young because of this, and I still had the heart murmur, but I had no heart disease. So and then they developed a formula for me. Since nobody in the country had a salve for eczema or anything for eczema, they developed this salve potion, and I took it back to the pharmacist in the Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie area, and they would develop this salve for me for the eczema. It's a white cream salve. But first, before I put the white cream salve on, they developed, I was to wrap my legs with, I was to put hot white vinegar, or hot water, white vinegar in hot water, and soak up a washcloth and wrap my legs or wherever I needed to wrap with hot white vinegar and hot water. And I would wrap it, and it would suck the poison out of it. And I saw this firsthand. The white vinegar and water sucked the poison out of the eczema. Then they developed this salve to put on, and after I put the salve on, I was to wrap my legs with Saran wrap. And you talk about a nuisance. I mean, it was a real nuisance. It took a lot of time to do this. But anyway, that's what happened at the Mayo Clinic. So they decided I didn't have heart disease, and they developed this formula for the white vinegar and water and this salve. So I took that for years. I followed their instructions, and as I got older, my eczema improved. It got better. And so here I am. I graduated from high school when I was in 1967, and here I am. I'm 70 years old now, and now the doctors tell me the last 10 years where I'm living now, at the hospitals, I was taking high blood pressure medication for 16 years, and the last couple of years I'm off the high blood pressure medication. But they said I no longer have a heart murmur. After all these years, I no longer have a heart murmur, and so that's where I stand now. The heart condition is much improved. I mean, I really don't have any heart trouble. I'm 76 years old, but I've always been an outdoorsman. You know, I've always walked. I'd go out in the woods and walk 8-10 miles a day, a lot by myself. And I used to run into black bears and stuff like that. We didn't have any pistols. We didn't carry any pistols back then. All we had was long rifles, you know, big rifles and shotguns. And I didn't want to have to carry a rifle or shotgun every place I went. So anyway, that's the story on that. And the eczema over the years is gradually gotten better and better. I mean, it's gotten to be less and less. I know I had a few episodes a couple of years ago. I mean, I still get an episode once in a while on my back. It's at my top of my shoulders and my back. But I haven't had anything in a couple of years now. But I want to tell you about these salves they got now for eczema. I want to tell people. This is a statement I wrote up this morning. The awesome, amazing healing power of some eczema salves. Now that's how I feel. Some of the eczema salves now are just wonderful, and they're not just wonderful for eczema. Obviously, they're wonderful for itching of other things. And I've been treating my cat. My cat has had fleas. It's 3 years old, and her back